Hello and welcome again to all my warrior brothers and sisters. And in my everlasting ongoing attempt to be innovative and really finding new ground, I've modified the Mook Jong. And so what I've done, so one of the thoughts I had, actually this is Sifu David Akrish with Black Dragon Modern Combat, and this is 20 key principles of the Mook Jong. And this is number 13, which is kind of long strikes and waist power. So we're going to get a little bit into that. But what I've done here, this is kind of part of it. So I'm thinking about this. And one of the things that I like doing, and I've never seen anybody do, if you have a video or somebody else is doing it, show me, but I think I'm a pioneer here, is actually putting the pad on the back side of the Mook Jong. And so that's one of the ideas, striking from behind, especially with these long waist power things that we're going to do here. And it's not going to be too complicated. It's just some ideas that I'm going to run through. And then I thought, well, in Charlie Fight and Wing Chun, the wall bag is really important. And I don't want to put the wall bag anywhere else. And I thought, and I've been doing a lot of animal training with Tiger, and I was like, well, I want to actually put it on the Mook Jong. So what I did is I spun this around where the Velcro, this black part, gray part, the Velcro's in front. This is not brain surgery, once again. And then, by the way, welcome to everybody. If you're new, hi. I hope you go back and look at all the other videos, because this is an accumulation of ideas of these 20 key principles. And I might have a couple bonus ones. In fact, I think I will. But, and if you're new, just hi. And if you're returning, hi to you too. So it's always the end of the day for me. So, and this is raw and unedited. So I'm just putting it out there, so I don't spend hours and sweating over. And I'm just kind of streaming out my mind here onto the YouTube. And so, but I welcome you all. And I do keep asking if you take any of my ideas, and I'm way outside. In fact, there is no box. I'm not even outside the box. There is no box. And so I do what I want. And after all these many, many decades, I just allow myself to be free and move forward with different ideas through different systems, but most of it is my own. These are my own ideas. Nobody's really taught me. This is my own idea. So the idea here, because I don't want to, even with the pad here, I don't want to like fit, and I say I don't use that much fist, and earlier I said I don't at all, maybe a little bit, but I do train with the fist. And, that I want to actually hit a wall bag. And a wall bag is a big part, like I said, it's a big part of a lot of systems, but one of the first things I ever learned in my Charlie Fight school was a wall bag form. And then, but it's used in Wing Chun too, and many other systems. So, but it's definitely used there. And I don't want to, I see people sometimes hitting the wood, and so if you don't know me, I'm not saying somebody's wrong, I'm saying I don't do it. I don't believe in it, I don't think, and I have my reasons behind it. So if you don't want to know, why are you saying? Because I might see for hits, well then do it, that's up to you. But I don't think it's a very good idea. So I was going to talk about that in another video about really the fist versus the open hand strikes. Anyways, even hitting this pad is, it's a bit much, but it's okay. And you could do a little fist training on it, but I don't want to. So I do a little bit, but I wanted actually to have a wall bag. And these were kind of hard to find. They're kind of elongated. So I actually found them. And I thought they'd be a little bit smaller, but this is fine. This works. And I put the cord, or the bungee cords, which is from my other training module thing, where these are really crappy on that. It didn't work out. So I was like, well, I just kept them because I knew I was going to use them for something. And they ended up working out almost perfect on here. And this is rubber, and they're kind of cheap, but let's see how long they last. And so I put them on either side, which is working out perfect. So I can hit this pad also. So the bungee cord's on top and on bottom. Fits just well. Everything kind of worked out great. And so I filled this with rice. It was a little overfilled, so I took some out. So I wanted some play, some of it to go in. So it wasn't like hitting cement. and so I just did this just today. I think finished today, kind of figuring this all out, how I like it. And so it's worked out pretty good. So one thing is you get the backside to strike along with the front side. So that's nice. Big thing for me because, okay, so let's get into this. So you see a lot of, I think, a lot of the training on the Mook Jong real close, which is cool. And I'm all into that, into very close, tight, how to, and some of the videos, just the ones behind this one, talk about just getting close in power. So striking from a very close distance. So I believe in that you may not have much room, so you need to train that way. And it's really fast, it's almost sticky, you're almost on top of it, whatever, however you do things. It's fun. So, but I take it much further. I use, even though it's a Wing Chun dummy, well, to me it's not, because I'm using it for other things. And one of the big systems of long arm is Shaolin, and Southern Shaolin, long arm punches, or strikes and moves, and then other systems too, especially Chinese systems, like even White Crane. I'm going to do a little bit on that, and Praying Mantis. So they're kind of a little bit longer of a strike, and so I don't want to say what other people's Praying Mantis or but this is just what I do. And within within Charlie Fight, there's very long movements. There's crane, there's five animal, there's so much in it that I say explore it, find the right school, be happy. So I think it's super, super great. I do, and I say this a lot, is I want to know what I'm doing and applying it. That's just so much of what I'm about, is applying what you're doing. And I've gone do that with other videos, and I'll just keep saying that. It's application, proper training. I talked about the 4 pillars, what I think a school should offer, and how you should train to get it from here to there on what you're doing. So it's contiguous. And so with this, instead of doing quick short movements, we're going to do a little bit of longer training. So one of them is maybe, it looks kind of funny, but just swinging, and this is where it's nice having a back, is being able to just relax my waist, maybe throw a kind of a back fist, a slap, a back fist, an open, let me do it this way, an open kind of crane, right crane movement. Even this is a distance thing also. But in distance, and I said this earlier, is that if you're training in a longer distance, so I'm pretty far away and I'm striking almost at the end of my arm's distance, my arm's length, is that's not necessarily, or it is, and it's not the only way that you apply a longer arm system. So longer arm system, even though I may be training from further out and getting more extension and more openness and more waist power, it doesn't mean if I get in here that I'm also at the inner part of the circle instead of the outer part of the circle at the beginning of it, or the inner inside. And it's the same thing, whether I'm doing that from here or here. It's the same idea. It's just from further out, you may be able to maybe rotate a little bit more. Maybe you can rotate from closer in a great deal. So one of my big things is I never say never. If you can do it, or that's how you end up training, or your body feels like even from here, I can do a pretty good rotation, almost the same rotation if I'm right here. It's the same thing as I'm a little bit closer, from right there. It's the same nexus or inner core of what you're doing, which is honestly, it's very martial arty, but it's very Chinese. I'm not biased to Chinese ideas, but it's just what I see and how I've learned, and maybe I see it more there. The relaxation, the rotation, it's in Tai Chi, it's in Chole Fat. It actually is in Wing Chun. So this rotation from the inner core of who we are, because the world rotates, the Earth rotates, the solar system, and we're a part of that. And so it's just how geometry in nature works. And so that's how we work, and this is how we can build power. A hurricane or a tornado is rotational. Almost everything is. And so what we're doing is just training from a further distance out, maybe, and using our waist. And one thing I want to say about this is to be very careful, because the further you're away, and not to say you can't get really hurt being real close and striking, but the further you're away, the more you're building velocity. Velocity equals power. Power is the ability to move something. So you can hurt yourself. So if I'm really swinging from way out here and trying to, that's not a very good idea. So you don't have to train really hard. You're just training from a more rotational, longer distance to feel your waist, to open up. And you can strike from further out. You can do a leopard or whatever from a further distance, but people think that's the only way that a longer distance system or striking has to happen. Like you're far away, I'm far away from the person, like at the very end, and that's where the strike's at. And that's just BS. That's just not true. Because you can train further out, but just from right here, it's the beginning of, let's say, that long movement, just the very beginning of it, you should be able to strike just as much. You take what you need at the distance that you're at. And so I like training at all distances. And that was the last video. There's no, just this goes here and this just goes there. That's just not true. And so, like, there's a movement where you're doing this palm movement in a Charlie Fight. And I always see that you're always, for some reason, a person's fully extended, and then they're finally striking at the very end right here, where my hand's at. And this is not true. That, for me, the truth is not within me, of that's how that works. So maybe I'm just right here working on a Gong Jong or whatever it is. I'm just working from a shorter distance, even though training this way is wonderful out of the form. And even on the Mook Jong, you can train that way. So I can train from further out. Sorry, the video isn't trying to get in here. Okay, so I'm further out. I can train further out. Cut choi or whatever it is. Uppercut from a further distance, working and being very careful, working on longer movements. Waist power. It's just another piece of the pie. So it's not a lesson on how to do those. It's the idea of building energy, circular energy, chi, whatever you want to call it, from a further distance out. And it's just part of the pie. So sometimes I'm working inside, and then I'll do a long strike from outside. And what's really nice, once again, is that back side, because if it wasn't there, I'm not going to really hit it. I don't want to slap the wood. So it's nice having something there. I mean, I would, but with a little bit of padding in the back, I can go a little bit harder. So close, tight, and then long distance. Do everything. Know everything. Study out again. Open your mind to all the possibilities. That's what this channel is about. It's breaking new ground in a sense. Even though I didn't invent any of this, but how I'm approaching it, how I'm seeing it, I think is a little more, what I say about it's modernized. And so I don't hold things in one place and like, oh, it's only this way, or that only works there. It's like everything goes. And so take the beauty and the essence of all these different ideas from these different systems. And I'm thinking about, what's funny is I'm thinking about teaching Charlie Futt, but not these long forms, pieces of the forms, which I was doing anyways, and that kind of got me, well, anyways, on another path. And take ideas from even just the single movements, how to apply them in modernized street, real combat, close quarter combat. I don't call it fighting. I use the word fighting and I use the word martial art because it's what people relate to. but I don't, it's not in my heart. I don't talk, fighting's not what I think this is all about, and martial arts, I don't like that either. And so I call this combat. And so, and I've said this before, and I'll say it to the very end. So this is life and death stuff. So I think this is pretty cool and innovative, if I can be non-humble here, and maybe something to think about is if you have a Mook Jong, is to spin it around, get it, you know, maybe get something, you might want one of these, or maybe, I actually took this one and I layered it with a second one, and it felt really good. And so that was another idea. So, and you can buy these, and I have them on the other Mook Jong square. You can actually see it right behind me. So those are cool. I love it. That really added to that Mook Jong that was custom built because there was nothing for it. And so I did all kinds of different ideas. I went through probably 10 different ideas of trying to have a pad on there, and anyways, and so those worked out perfect. And so really happy about that. But yeah, so long distance, just even if you just move back a little bit and just swing your arm and just strike to see what it feels like. Don't worry about what it's called or what the system is. Just feeling your waist generate a movement. So I am doing double hand where the other hand's outside here, but it could stay inside. So it could stay close. So I can come here, keep this hand right here. But just waist movement. Just feel free, kind of free form. Even with a straight punch, further out. So I'm further out. And practice that way. And just don't really think about the strikes. Just feel your body open up and turn and twist and kind of get the yoga energy and the flow of chi. And you'll probably feel better too. So instead of everything being in tight, short, tight, quick, if that's what you do. So that's what this video is about. It's about waist power and long distance striking. Oh, one other idea is that, and I've gone over this before, but using the whole, I'm just setting this up here with like a slap, whatever you want to call it, but using the whole arm. Longer distance, waist power, so not just on here, on the pads and on the body of the Mook Jong, but actually on the arm. So you can go long distance. I'm doing a little bit of uppercut, sideways, or horizontal, and trying to get the whole arm involved. Because I train the whole body. Everything gets trained hitting something. But here, I'm working on longer, wider movements. And every time I'm kind of hitting something a little bit different. If this hurt me a little bit, I might work inside. And this is a very tender area, but you can still work it. Right there, right on the inside here. And so, yeah, I forgot that I wanted to bring that up. Anyways, that's it. So I'd like to hear from you. If you really want to go far, do send me some videos of your self-training. Show me what you do. And I'd love to see it. Because, hey, I'm doing it. So, maybe you can do it for me. Send me it, upload it to YouTube, and then say, hey Dave, look at me. And I'd really appreciate it. I think it'd be super great. So, any comments? Cool. Okay, have a nice evening. And once again, I'm not sure what number 14 is, but we're getting close to the end of 20, and I'm going to have a couple bonus ones. All right, have a nice evening. Take care. Bye.